things CEO say. So go for that real quick, Kristen.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know,
Being a sales professional is not the easiest thing in the world. There's a lot of scary things that can happen, and oftentimes that hinders us from actually doing our work. On this episode, we're going to identify the scary truths about cold calling that may be holding you back from hitting your numbers. You're going to love this one. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist podcast. I'm your host, Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And happy Halloween, wherever you are, whenever you're listening to this podcast episode. Today, we're going to talk about some of the scariest truths about cold outreach that could be holding you back from hitting your numbers. And we have two amazing guests that I want to brag about real quick. Ari Brinson, he is a team lead over at Challenger working with their SDRs and BDRs, and Kristen Bentley is also one of the team members working with the Challenger organization as well. And you can find both of their links down below in the show notes, and she's one of their SDRs on the team. And these individuals are on the front lines. They're making phone calls, they're leading, Ari's leading teams, they're working with individuals like you and me as we're making cold outreach. And now some of you may say I'm an AE, or I'm a full cycle seller, or I'm even a sales leader and I don't make the phone call myself. However, these principles that they're talking about applies to you, because I guarantee you still make cold outreach sometimes, and your team members are going through these same exact challenges as well. We're going to break those down and give you some ideas of things that you could walk away with, concrete things that you can utilize today. Listen, I want to pick your brain here a little bit. We've been going through and talking a lot recently on the series about BDRs and SDRs and some of the challenges that they're facing. And obviously right now we're coming up on, it's Halloween today, so it's going live today. And we want to discuss this idea, some of the scary truths of cold calling that many people don't necessarily know right now. And it could be holding us from hitting our numbers. So I'd love to hear from maybe just a couple points from you, Ari, and from you also, Kristen. What are some of those things that you see right now that are some of the biggest scary parts that you come across with your team that are just like, people are afraid of?
Sure. I think the one that jumps off to my head, right, that is the biggest issue that I think not only like on my team specifically, but SDRs everywhere kind of encounter, is they go into these calls with these senior leaders and they aren't necessarily prepared from an account research perspective.
But Kristen, what are your thoughts on that? The idea of not being prepared or scared that they don't know what to say talking to executive buyers or high VPs.
yeah, absolutely. I think that, one of the points that I, was thinking about and kind of ruminating on, in preparation for this was a fear of sounding stupid. And I think that not doing research and sounding stupid can be found together pretty often. Because, if you don't do research, you might sound like a moron on the phone, which is embarrassing, but you learn from it. I think that, it's never a bad idea to be curious. If you don't understand what is outlined on their website when you're cold calling them and doing account research, don't be embarrassed to, when you get on the phone, ask them if they can explain. Because one, I found that people, especially sales leaders, are never shy about talking about their career and their business and like what they're selling. But also it lowers the zone of resistance and it makes the conversation more organic, because then after they explain, it might give you that opening for you to actually pitch, because then you'll A, learn from their perspective what it is that they're trying to sell, and B, authenticity and having that organic back and forth conversation, it's more human and it makes it easier for you to try to fit in a pitch somewhere. And also, to that point, practice makes perfect. So the more that you call into these people and do this research, it becomes more natural, it becomes second nature. And also you start to learn what things to look for when you're trying to have a conversation that resonates with someone. Once you do that research, you can have a better conversation.
Let me talk about maybe a few more minutes, talk about one other major fear or challenge, scary truth you're seeing right now when it comes to cold outreach.
Yeah. I think one also that really, really impacted me when I first started was just the fear of hearing no. And it's one of the most purely human fears. From everyone remembers prom season in high school, how absolutely terrifying it must have been to be afraid to be told no. It's scary. Sales is essentially that fear amplified into an everyday little bite-sized piece of being told no. But the thing is once you accept that a majority of the people that you call either aren't going to answer or aren't going to want to talk to you, it's easier to handle it. It was really hard for me at first. It was, because I am naturally a people pleaser. So being told no is like dagger to my heart. But instead of holding on to those moments of rejection, and I think that this might relate to something that Ari mentioned earlier, but reframe your thinking into those aren't the people that you're ultimately going to want to meet with anyway. You are looking for that one prospect who has an actual need for your solution, even if they don't know it at the time. And, once you shift your mindset, you become detached from the outcome. And it makes those moments when you do win, those moments where you have those awesome conversations where you end up reframing the prospect's frame of thinking into realizing, oh, I actually might need this solution. This might benefit me. Those are so much sweeter. So those wins make every no disappear.
So here's the last piece I want to get to, and we can, wrap up here. I want to respect your time, and I know many of us who are listening. So many of us who are listening so far have probably walked away with tons of knowledge already, things that they can, leave with and help them out right now today in their sales efforts. We have, let's say I'm a brand new BDR and I'm, I really want to be successful, but maybe the idea is the scary side of this piece is a fear of failure. Fear that I won't look good when I'm making the outreach calls, that I am going to get hung up on, the fear that I might get reprimanded for not hitting my numbers, the fear that I might lose my job, the fear that I may not be as good as my colleagues. A lot of those can come back to the mental side, and it's oftentimes not necessarily looked on with sales. How would you, and this will be a last answer maybe for each of you, how would you coach or help somebody with those type of anxieties or some kind of fear in their new role as an SDR?
I mean, I think as a team lead, right, what you have to do, and it's almost like, all right, the kid who doesn't know how to swim, you just throw him into the pool, right? And it's just like, there's only one way to learn, right? So the fear of making calls, you're not going to get over that by not making calls. So it's just like, you're going to mess up. I've messed up countless times. So many times I butchered a call or used wrong information in the email, right? But you learn from those lessons and you're able to improve by that. But the only way to do that is to go out there and actually like apply yourself and do it, right?
Practice obviously is going to be the number one thing that will make you hit your numbers and improve. Because just like Ari said, if you just sit on your hands because you don't like cold calling and it makes you uncomfortable, it will forever make you uncomfortable and you will probably always be not very good at it. So my, biggest piece of advice outside of just practicing by doing is practice with a team lead, practice with your AE, practice with your manager.
That was Ari and the one and only Kristen. You can find both of their contact information down below. Check out the Challenger and some of the cool things they're doing. And you can find all the information about their amazing organization in the show notes. Listen, we bring on folks like this because we want to help you. We want you to be able to have the confidence to do the work that you know is of value to the prospects that are out there. People who need what you have to offer and they just don't know where to find it. Your job is to help them to come to that realization. As always, I love hearing about your results. You can find me on LinkedIn, Donald C. Kelly, and you can go ahead and connect with Ari as well as with Kristen on LinkedIn as well. As always, I want you to find more of your ideal customers. I want you to know what to say when you reach out to them. I want you to close more deals. But most importantly, I want you to raise your level of thinking and go out and do big things. Thank you so much for watching.